was enough all along. I just had to look at myself and believe in it a little bit more.
Today is AFI, day 2. We're trying to see Rental Family. That's our goal. We saw Continental with a K.
Mi atyánk, aki a mennyekben vagy.
Sfințească se numele Tău, vie împărăția Ta, facă-se voia Ta.
Mint a mennyben, úgy a földön is. Mindennapi kenyerünket add meg nekünk ma.
Și ne iartă nouă greșelile noastre, precum și noi iertăm greșiților noștri.
És ne vigy minket kísértésbe, de szabadíts meg a gonosztól.
Ca Ta e împărăția și slava și puterea, acum și pururi și în vecii vecilor. Amin.
Very quiet, dialogue-heavy film in German and Hungarian. So that was really interesting to see. Okay, so Sean is 1 star review. I would give it, I think the acting was great. I would give it maybe like a 3 or a 2.5. They kind of, was it good and stripped down, or was it did, to me, and I know with Sean, it did actually have some problems that didn't work. Yeah, I think that the director had a lot of things to say about the state of the world, and I don't think it was effective. It didn't affect me in the way that I think it was supposed to. We were supposed to go on the 2nd floor, weren't we? Okay, Sean's gonna get in the regular line, the ticket holder line. I'm gonna get in the rush line.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to AFI Fest presented by Canva. I'm Todd Hitchcock, the festival director. Thank you all for joining us this evening for our screening of Rental Family. And now it is my pleasure to introduce someone, a filmmaker, who, if anyone's a fan of the Emmy Award-winning series Beef, they're familiar with her directorial work. But she is the writer, producer, and director on tonight's film, Rental Family. Would you please join me in welcoming to our stage, Hikari?
I'm just so happy to be here. Screening for AFI has been a dream, and this is my first time screening here, so I'm so happy to be here. Please welcome Brendan Fraser to the stage, and then Yamamoto.
Thanks for coming out. I'm Yamamoto.
And we also have our filmmakers, our team here, can't really see, we'll introduce later, but my co-writer Stephen Blayhead, composer Alex Summers, and DP Takuro Shizuka. They're all here too. I shouldn't talk too much about it, but just to give you this is what the Rental Family really is about. It's a business that has been around since the 80s. And there's about 300 companies that provide similar services around in Japan. And there's a lot of reason behind it, and the part of it you're about to see. So I guess I won't.
Thanks. I can't say it often enough. This film is a love letter to Japan. The address is Loneliness Anywhere. It's written with cherry blossom pink ink and signed with a kiss. You're going to feel as if you've been in Japan for a couple of hours. Enjoy.
Yes.
Okay, we just saw Rental Family with Brendan Fraser.
The market here isn't the same anymore. It's half the rate, twice the work. But I got you a gig and the pay is actually pretty good.
What's my part? So, what do you think we do here?
We sell emotion.
How?
We play roles in clients' lives. Parents, siblings, boyfriends, girlfriends, best friends, and help them connect to what's missing.
I'm just an actor. I don't know how to help people.
What I'm offering here is a chance to play roles with a real meaning.
What do you need me for?
We need a token white guy. This girl needs a father.
Hi, Mia. I'm your father. I'm your father. Hello, Mia. I'm your father.
I hate you.
She hates me.
It's what being a parent is. You could live in this country for 100 years, and there will still be things you won't understand.
Why do you do this?
Sometimes the story we tell ourselves becomes the truth. To her parents, you are her husband. These people look at you like they've been waiting for you their whole lives. And what you'll discover is that they stay with you.
Well, this is amazing.
It's cool, but it's fake.
You know, sometimes it's okay to pretend.
And there was a Q&A afterwards. We sat in the front row. You guys are gonna love that video.
Welcome back to our stage, writer, producer, director Hikari. And also the stars of Rental Family, Brendan Fraser. And Mari Yamamoto. And moderating our conversation, David Canfield from The Hollywood Reporter. Would you please join me in welcoming David?
Hi, David.
Hi. Hello, Rental Family.
That's your costume.
You guys have been going around the country making people cry for the last few weeks. How was that for you?
I'm so sorry for making you dehydrated. There's some water that can get, yeah. No, I never meant to make anybody cry. I'll be honest with you. It's just,
We rent Brendan.
Can we rent Brendan? How much?
We'll see you next
Anytime you want. Pay-per-view on the day.
You're sold, I got it. Well, I think the tears are because this film is resonating so strongly already, Hikari. This is a system that you depict that exists in Japan and has existed for many decades. Can you talk a little bit about when you first encountered it, and then what about it made you think that it would make a great film?
Sure. Before that, can I just quickly introduce my team real quick? My producer, my partner, Eddie Weissman. Alex Summers, say hi. Thank you for that. So I think it was around 2018, 2019. My partner, co-writer Stephen, was looking for a random job in Japan for American to do, and there's butler cafe where you dress up like a butler and you can serve a tea to Japanese women, or like English teacher or translator, all of that fun stuff. And then Rental Family was one of them. And so we just started looking for why this exists, as I discovered why this exists, why people use these services. And there's a lot of discovery that I even found. I'm Japanese, I was born and raised there, that I had no idea why. And it was actually much more touching and more deeper than I ever expected it. And then also isolation right? During the pandemic, we were so separated, we're so away from each other. And at the same time, because I feel like that whole couple of years is technology kind of advanced, like the only way you communicate is this, right? So from that moment, just like a development of a rental family and the service, the people, how much more people use services was far more than I never even imagined. So that was kind of like the origin, and why I thought it would be a great one to just kind of dig in and figure out what's happening there.
I feel like the second you watch the movie, Brendan just feels so perfect for this part, and you can't imagine anybody else in it, so I understand why you thought of him. That said, I'm curious about sort of your relationship to his work coming into this project and why you wanted to cast him.
I mean, look at this guy. Honestly, like, this was like a gift. I went to see, as I was, casting and thinking who's my, Philip, I went to see The Whale, and it's exactly that's how I felt. I was watching Charlie, and he was so vulnerable and so kind and so honest, and I was like, wow, Brandon Fraser, she's amazing. And then, but what really said yes was right after there's a Q&A session, and he got COVID at the time, and he couldn't show up. It was supposed to be, sitting in the room like this. So he just showed up in this giant screen, like almost like a god, hello everybody, right? And he was just, I saw him and I just felt it in my gut. And I was like, oh, there's Philip, because he was so kind. He was like, so respectful to his crew and cast members, and the way he was talking about the experiences, about the process to the director. I was like, wow.
I'm sitting right next to you, Hikari.
Well, I mean, you gave me $20 earlier, so I had to say, something nice about you.
She gave it to me.
Oh, she gave it to you. So anyhow, then, now we're like brothers and sisters, so it worked out perfect.
Brandon, what do you remember about your first conversation with Hikari?
That it went on for about 6 hours. In a hotel in New York. I think I ordered mussels, but I never ate them. And we found out it got cold, so we went into the library and flipped through many art books and discussing pretty much everything but the movie, I think. Yeah. And
the whole time I was thinking, like, is he gonna say yes? When are we gonna talk about movie? No.
I was like, is she gonna hire me? So, well, look, if you could put Hikari in a bottle, this is what you get. So this screenplay was unique in that, for all the reasons that she just gave, and that it spoke to a sensibility of longing and a need for connection, and it struck me that if you even have a substitute relationship, it still can do some good. The reality comes butts alongside it, and we did discuss, what it meant to have a story that's seemingly so, unique, even peculiar, but have it be based in an actual reality, and then couple that with an expat who, for whichever reasons, he's not in the United States for the last 7 or so years, and he's either on a journey to find himself or wait for whatever's around the corner for him next to reveal who he is as a human in one of the most populous cities in the world. Tokyo, as y'all saw, it's just so much energy and activity, and astonishingly, there's so much loneliness at the same time. It seemed like there's you said pandemic, it's an epidemic of it. And I don't know, I guess it touched my heart to think that, hey, maybe this guy can dare to find out what it feels like to pay attention to his paternal instincts that he didn't even know that he had, and coupled with I mean, I've contrasted with his obvious issues with, a father, being, as he intimates in the story and in conversation that we have in her apartment, and that spoke to me. My dad turned 89 the day before yesterday, and thanks. But he's still a pain in the neck, don't worry, it's fine. But he's basically indestructible, and I did this for him. So if I was able to, summarize the things that I felt were important to me and see that come together as a work of art, I said it, she's the one at the helm, and I discovered she has the heart of a poet. And for what I want to accomplish and hope to continue going forward with, which, however long I'm invited to do this job, I want to be able to learn something new. I want to have new experiences. Yeah, it seems like a dream job. Go to Japan, but then you go to Japan, it's like everything's different and unique and wonderful. And I relished that time, and I'm just giving you way longer answer than I intended to, but I just feel like I'm the luckiest guy I know. The end.
Mario, I'll go to you now. When Philip walks into the office, you and Takehiro Hiro have to really convey the sense of this business, this world. I would imagine you as an actor did not know this world coming into this project. So walk me through sort of building the character and building the world, really, that you have to build there.
Right. One of the things, I have a journalist background, so I get very investigative when it comes to roles, and especially because this is a real business. And there was an article in the New Yorker that everybody knows, and I had heard so many people trying to make it into a movie and so on. So when I first read the script, I was like, oh my god, Hikari's gonna do it. It's gonna be amazing, because I've been a fan of hers for so long and I wanted to work with her so bad. So it was like, okay, this is gonna be so great. But then once I got the role, my task was to really kind of delve into the reality of it and what is the day-to-day like of these people. So one of the things that we did was Takehiro Hira, he's not here tonight, but we love him so much. He and I visited a business, a rental, they don't call themselves, interestingly, a rental family business. They call themselves, in this case, an all-woman handyman company. So it kind of lowers this threshold, because it's not, you're not necessarily calling to rent somebody in the beginning. And that's what we found, was that the stories they told us, for instance, was that an elderly lady called them to change the AC filter, and they go for $60 about an hour. So they went to change her filter, and it takes 3 minutes, and she rented them for an hour. So they said, would you like us to do anything else? And so she goes, oh yeah, maybe this, maybe that. But then in the end, what she wanted was to talk to somebody. So they ended up having this sort of really tender conversation. And then she became a regular. She would call every week to have somebody come, the same person, keep her company for a little bit. And in the end, that's what she wanted. And that really brought home the point to us that this is a necessity in Japanese society. And why is the interesting part, I think, because the concept is so foreign, perhaps, to a Western audience. But one thing I kind of beg people to sort of consider is that in Japan, the love language between families, and I'm not generalizing, not everybody. There are certainly families in Japan that tell each other, I love you. I just haven't met anyone like that. And I think how we convey love is, or how we show that we care, is that we don't burden the other person. The worst thing you can do is to burden somebody with your problems, with your feelings, with your with something that will trouble them too. So oftentimes we keep it from our loved ones, And I personally have experience of that too, that my father didn't tell me he had cancer for 2 years because he just wanted me to live my life. Like, he didn't want to burden me. And of course, as a daughter, you're enraged and, you know, why did you tell me? And all of these things. But I know deep down that that's how he loves me. And so that's what had to be done. It's a complex thing. And I think that is what's behind the rental family service, that, you know, people can't or people don't want to trouble their loved ones or friends with their problems. So it's sometimes easier to pay somebody to be there for them. And so, yeah, that was a very long answer. But yes, we're going to talk to people to sort of do field work, I guess, yeah.
We have a lot to share.
You think so? Yeah.
I think what you're speaking to as well is the fact that everyone can project onto this movie and what maybe they could get out of this kind of service when they watch it. And so I am curious, Hikari, when you were refining the script, you have these really beautiful little short stories almost. This story of Philip with this young girl, this story with Yamamoto, who's so brilliant. How did you kind of settle on those two as the anchor pieces for the film?
I think when we were writing a draft, and there's like so many different versions. Like we started out very dramatic part. It was a story probably took from him having a brother and losing the brother to a father to, like, we really like examined and what can we do? What is the possibility that lands the best? The story that we want to tell. And then along the way, me just as a writer or filmmaker, I always find what can I do as a filmmaker, what is the message here? What do I want the audience to take away from? And my answer always to that is always, okay, how can, the world is crazy, right? And how can I make the people to say, we're okay, we gotta be okay. And no matter what happens, as long as we have this, like we're centered and I know what's happening in my life, then we're okay. But for this rental family idea, for me was to say, we may not have a perfect family, but the families are, like, true family really could come from the people you surround yourself, right? Your best friends, your co-workers, the people you spend every day with. Even though you found family, that was the message. So for me and Stephen, we were like, all right, so that's our center. And we got to that place, even though we wrote so many different storylines, kind of got to that place. And once we got there, all right, so who's the character? Who's the lead? Philip. And I'll tell you why I picked the token white guy in the meantime in a second. But for me, I wanted, for us, we want him to experience life through rental family, the life that he did not have, or he has not have, or he wished to have. So for that reason, he probably had, we had a storyline where he had a girlfriend, and he's checking his ex-girlfriend Instagram, and he's already married and have kids, and that scene was actually taken out for different reasons. But we shot that, yeah. Yeah, we did that. Yeah. You were looking at the gray screen on the phone. That's true. But then, you kind of wishing, what my life would be if I stayed with this person. And right shortly after that, he gets a call to work on this job. So, and then obviously he has a story about the father, that he lost his father, that he didn't get to say goodbye, or he chose not to say goodbye because of the past. And so Kiko, the gentleman, Akira Yamamoto, who's a legendary actor, amazing. Thank you, I'll tell him. He's incredible. I grew up watching his performance in both theater and televisions and movies, and so he becomes his father, who teaches him what is about life and what his belief is, and what he could potentially open himself up to learn about life. Like, one of the lines we wrote was, Bugonia, when in Rome, do Rome's do, but also thinking you're becoming more than yourself. Which is, I find it's very truth, because if you're open to it, you can actually learn and gain so much more. So it was just kind of a combination. We're just kind of molding everything together, and what kind of line comes to perfectly and lands perfectly for Phillips where he's at emotion. So there's a lot of process. We wrote probably like 2 years or something like that, on and off, because I had to go work on television and make some money.
And there was a strike, and then there was another strike. But it was worth waiting for.
Brandon, I saw you really reacting when she was talking about Akira. Can you talk about working with him and what those scenes
Like about 20 years ago, I worked with Ian McKellen on a film called Gods and Monsters. And when I was a student, when I was like, 19 years old, I was in training in Cornish College in Seattle, Washington. And I wore out the beta copy, the Betamax copy of Acting Shakespeare that Ian did for BBC in the 80s. Because I was astonished at how he made classical text so accessible, just as easy as you and I having this conversation right now. And so, sure, that young, hungry actor's aspiration would be to work with someone like that one day, and that seemed unattainable. And then, I don't know, fate and fortune smiled on me, and I actually did. And I bring him up because I understand the caliber of respect that I feel for that individual. And that was easy to transfer onto Akira Imoto. With a name like Imoto, I mean, hello? Perfect. And he is a real living treasure. His face speaks just chapters and volumes and verses. This is a man who has a theater, his own theater, a black box theater that he performs in every day, every morning. I went there with my son, and we did like Godot one morning before Keanu did. And I said it in Tokyo. But you can do that. Like, he would read anything. Like, I think the one that we went, he was reading like a 15th century text of what was it?
Local supermarket, like.
Yeah. So, tell him. It was like a shocking.
It was like a reading for like, and he invites the neighbors because it's not inside his house. He's like in his house. So he's just like does a reading every day, and then sometimes he was just like, it depends. Sometimes I just read like a supermarket coupon list or anything. But I'm sure it's like I would kill to listen to him.
But you would sit there and listen to him read the phone book. He has that capacity. So he's the real thing. He's a genuine article, and it meant so much to me understanding that relationship, and it was an obvious transfer to me to working that dynamic again. But the relationship that they forged is, I think so much more than what presents. I think that Kikuo was on to Philip from jump. Like, I think he knew the score. He was far too acute to you can pull one over on him until the very last moment of this movie when he realizes, he got me. He was right. I was enough all along. I just had to look at myself and believe in it a little bit more. And that sentiment coming from a performer, an actor, a human being like Akira just makes sense. And it's a big swing to end a movie like that. But that's why you have an artist, a poet, a director like Hikari who makes those decisions in post and puts all that together and gives us the story in a way that revealed itself as being even better than I hoped for from what I saw on the page. You can stop me anytime now.
I have one really funny, I should say, and I was like, whoa, okay. So we were at London Film Festival last week, and we premiered in UK. And Emoto Akira-san, he watched it for the first time, right, on this giant screen with 2,500 audience. And everybody's having a great time, and I just sat next to him because I wanted to see his reaction. And he's like doing his thing. And so at the end, I asked him, so what did you think? And he goes, first he says, Brendan is a star. He's a star. Brendan is a star. Yeah, of course he did. And then he goes, and there's like, so what do you think about your performance? He's like, I have so many more years to go. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, I should have probably done this way. I don't know what I was thinking at the time, but but I just followed him, whatever. And it's like, maybe in 10 years I can watch it. Yeah, 10 years I can watch it, relax. But right now I feel too, I don't know if I did it
He
right.
was saying that like he doesn't want to watch something he's done immediately, like he just doesn't want to watch it, but maybe in 5 years if he's walking down the street and there's like a tiny cinema playing it, then he'll go in. Yeah.
I only have time for one more question. I'm going to throw it to you, Mari. We're going to put Brendan on the spot.
Yes,
Can you talk a little bit about what he brought to your scenes, what it was like working with him?
Oh my goodness. Well, okay, so, oh my god, where do I start? I learned so much from this person, legend, actor, icon. Like, first day of the shoot, I was so nervous. The first scene was in the bar where after I'd gotten hit, and he's, like Tokyo Fight Club, and, it was so much fun. But I was super nervous, and then I was drinking whiskey, and I was nervous. I was like drinking it a lot, and then I was like, oh no, continuity. I was like nervous. I said that, and he was like, continuity is for beginners. Don't worry about it. Let's just do the scene. And then so that was the beginning, and all these technical things too. But I think the story that comes to mind when I talk about what he's like on set is we were shooting this scene on this tiny balcony, like yay wide in Japan, and we were facing each other. I'm here, the camera operator, and then Brandon was here, and we're shooting my close-up, and it's a really difficult scene, and he just wants to be there for you so badly. So what he does is just like lean out of this tiny Japanese balcony so much so that I can see him like right next to the camera, and that's all he's worried about, like being there for me. But I'm there worried about the Oscar winner, the headlines falling from the Japanese balcony. I'm not focusing on what I did, but I was concerned quite a bit. Yeah, you see that. But that's him in a nutshell. That he made me feel. I think he made everybody on set feel like he was gonna catch us if we fell, and that's him as an actor, a leader, a person. And I'm so grateful to have gotten to work with him.
For the record, I did have my foot hooked on the back of that door, so I trying to freak you out, man. Whoa.
Oh, you got me.
Unfortunately, not. We're out of time, but thank you all so much for coming out, and thank you all for
Really, really great answers to the questions, great moderator. It's about a token white man living in Japan, and he's an actor, and he's mostly done commercials in his career, done some big commercials, and he's lonely. He's lost in translation. He does speak a little bit of Japanese. So it was a really, really beautiful movie. It's by the writer-director of Beef. So I would give it like a solid 4. Solid 4. But if you guys get the chance, you should definitely watch it. It was really beautiful. I could tell Sean really loved it too. What's Sean's score? It's a 4. Oh, he just wears his heart on his sleeve. We saw that in the Q&A too. You could see every thought that comes on his face, and he was perfect for the role. Kind of similar to Bugonia, where I think Yorgos really knows Emma Stone's strengths. This director really knows Brendan Fraser's strength, and she even said that she casted him from watching The Whale. If you guys want to watch that, I think he won the Oscar that year for The Whale.
Brendan Fraser.
The Whale.
I just want to say thank you for this acknowledgement.
Kind of similar in like the heart of it, I think. The heart of the character. I think his characters just have a lot of empathy, a lot of guilt, a lot of loneliness, and I think that's kind of how I perceived him in real life too, which is kind of interesting. More tomorrow. I'm calling in sick just for you guys.